Hi there, and thanks for joining us for round 3 of the Missed Apex Formula Renault Challenge. Today, we're at the iconic Charlotte Roval, which combines the best of ragged-edged road racing with some great high-speed oval slipstreaming. The circuit gives with one hand with a very strong toe around the oval sections, but takes away as it dirties the air, making it hard to follow through the twisty infield. It's going to be fast and furious all the way to the finish line, and survival might well be key. To get things underway, here's your commentators for today's action, Chris Stevens and Chris Catman-Turner.
Well, after 2 sensational opening rounds to the Missed Apex Formula Renault Challenge at Okayama and Silverstone National, we have turned to America, specifically the Charlotte Roval in North Carolina, the home of Haas and the home of NASCAR. I'm Chris Stevens, I'll be your lead commentator this evening, and tonight I will be joined by Chris Catman-Turner. How's it going, Chris?
Yeah, I'm once again very excited about this track. It's going to provide a lot of interesting action tonight. There's a lot of very close barriers here. I think we're going to get a lot of incidents, Chris.
I'm looking at some of our new drivers at the moment as well, just coming through the infield section.
Yeah, who are our new drivers for this evening, Chris?
So, well, we have quite a few, and of some fortune as well, as we can see Danny Henney in the orange and black number 93 car, who is one of our new drivers for this evening, just exiting turn 8. He is of BRKC fame, and pretty much is here because of Jeansy, really. And but he is no slouch. You will see he is currently second in the standings of practice, only 16 thousandths of a second behind Brad Philpott. And if you look one name below his, you will see Ramon Pinheiro, who used to race in Jonathan Palmer's FIA Formula 2 Championship and won races in it.
I've just been watching on board with him, and he hits every single apex every time. He's very, very close to those walls, and he's very accurate. So I think he's going to be a real contender for the win this evening. So
interestingly enough, this could cause a few problems for our championship leaders, and start taking points away from them. And points are absolutely crucial at the moment, with just 1 point, as I mentioned earlier, separating Sam Harper and David Hatton. And just taking a look at the standings now, we can see some of the other drivers who are also doing pretty well in the championship, including Edward Shelley, who won the first of the 2 reverse grid races at Silverstone last time out. Tim Ellis not too far behind him as well. Gregory Leader, another race winner from this season. Yeli Ooms, Brad Philpott as well in 7th place.
What is a wonderful thing for us this evening is that Hatton and Harper are dead on pace with each other. They are 7th and 8th in the practice session, with less than a 10th between the two of them.
Still with Sam Harper just coming into that infield section. 17 turns this Charlotte Roval, specifically the 400 layout with the chicanes. 2.3 miles or 3.7 kilometers, built in 1959, and has been famous for mostly hosting NASCAR races, but of course there's been some other interesting stuff as well. They've had rallycross here in the past, as well as the IMSA GT Championship way back when. Certainly a lot to talk about with this track, but luckily we have our resident racing driver Brad Philpott and his track guide to help us guide us through those 17 turns.
So let's ride on board for a flying lap of the Charlotte Roval. Using plenty of curb at the final corner, you want to carry as much speed as possible over the start line before braking early for turn 1, trying not to run into the concrete wall over the bumps on the exit, then getting really close to the inside through turn 2. Over to the left-hand side, ready for turn 3, where you're going to trail the brakes all the way up to turn 4, slow in, ready to get early on the power on the exit, and using all of the runoff available in order to maximise the width of the track on the approach to turn 5. Again, trailing the brakes up to turn 6, it's crucial to get a good exit here into the fast turn 7, where a brief lift off the throttle helps you keep it out of the barriers and lets you get early on the power out onto the banking. Next, we're going to take the shortest possible line up to the first chicane. We're going to hug that yellow line on the inside on the apron, these cars producing more than enough downforce to keep you tight without having to use the banking. Then we move up onto the main part of the circuit in order to open the line into the chicane. Turn 11 and 12, a little bit of curb on the entry, then slow in the middle so you don't run too deep, and then immediately tight to the inside again, crossing the red, white and blue paint and hugging that yellow line of the apron for the shortest possible run to the final chicane, turns 15, 16 and 17. This is your final opportunity to make up some time. You're going to brake as late as possible, change down a couple of gears and then really commit to the curb, bouncing high over the apex and hoping you don't find yourself in the concrete barrier, ready to start another lap.
Who's your money on for this one, Chris?
I'm going to stick with Pinero. I know he's qualified third, but the gaps are so tight, and I think he's been very consistent, so I like the way he looks. Who's your money on, Chris?
I might have to just sneak a Philpott one, but the answers are not too far away as we're about to go green for the first of 3 races at Charlotte Roval for the third round of the Missed Apex Motorsport Formula Renault Challenge. About to get going, and it's a green flag, and it looks like a clean getaway for Brad Philpott, although it seems as though Danny Henney is pulling alongside and might just challenge around the outside into turn 1. Philpott settles into the lead with Pinero consolidating third place, but Henney is all over the back of Brad Philpott as they head through the infield section. Shelley maintains 4th place ahead of Dobertsberger, but Henney is looking every which way for a route past Brad Philpott for the lead of the race.
Yeah, and actually they're all very, very clean through that first section. Just looking back at Hatton and Harper, they are right together because John Lang got the jump on Hatton at the start.
Surprisingly clean start then. Everybody's still pointing in the right direction so far, it would seem, although we haven't seen the final cars just yet. But mostly very good so far, which is not quite what we were expecting. The first slipstreaming opportunity coming up now for Danny Henney, and he pulls alongside Brad Philpott, but he has the wrong line into the chicane. And Philpott is able to hang on. What is his exit going to be like, though? Because he's had to compromise his entry, and Henney is not finished yet. He's going to pull alongside once again, but again, being on the outside. And that might just open up the door for Pinero, who sticks his nose in. Oh, this is like proper oval racing as Pinero tries to get up into second place around the outside of the chicane.
Oh.
And they make contact, and Pinero's round.
Oh, and he's taken a few cars with him as well.
So by the looks of it, he's been able to stay pointing in the right direction. No, he's gone round again, as you said, collecting a few other cars, and he's fallen right down the order. He's down in 13th.
He's pulling across because he's...
Gregory Leader and James Wingfield come to blows at the middle of turns 1 and 2.
That's it, and Pinero actually has got suspension damage, so he's pulled into the pits and is out of this race.
Oh, wow, that's dramatic stuff for the opening race. And I'll tell you what, Danny Henney's through into the lead. He's passed Brad Philpott somehow. I don't know where it happened, but the top 3 with Edward Shelley right together as they head back onto the banking. So he must have done it somewhere in the infield section because he was 0.6 of a second behind Philpott as they went over the line. So unless Philpott made a mistake, which would be uncharacteristic of him, but he's got a nice advantage over Philpott as they come through the turns 11 and 12 chicane. So now Philpott is going to be on attack mode as he's going back into the slipstream on the banking.
He is, and actually you were talking about the championship, Chris. One of those caught up in the incident was David Hatton.
Oh, that's so unfortunate for him.
Yeah, so Sam Harper is in 9th. He has dropped all the way back to 23rd. I think he might have had to have made a pit stop somewhere because he is miles behind.
That's going to be a big, big loss in terms of points as we've got a couple of cars spinning off right in front of the leaders. Not what we want to see. That's what interrupted the lead battle at Okayama between Hatton and Philpott. We don't need to see it again. So top 3 are really stretching their legs because they are 3 seconds clear of Tim Ellis in 4th place. Sam Harper has gone over the line in 7th place now, so he's making up even more points on David Hatton. So 0.8 of a second covered the top 3 as they went over the line to start lap 3 of 12. So only a quarter of the way through this race, and already the championship has been thrown on its head, and one of our 3 protagonists for this race has been caught up in some drama. Now, depending on where he can get back into the field, he could have a nice grid position for race 2, which is the top 20 reversed. So if you finish 20th in this first race, you will start on pole position for race 2. And we saw Philpott at Silverstone unable to take advantage of that, even though he didn't make it across the line. He just missed out on that reverse grid pole position, actually. But at the moment, he will be starting 19th if things stay the way they are. But I have a feeling that's not going to be the case, Chris.
No, I totally agree with you there, Chris. There's lots of action going all the way up and down the field. In Erasmus there just had a bit of a spin. He's a lap down, I think, but he had a spin in front of Sam Harper. So it's all going on for Sam.
I'll tell you what, Conor Meyer has got a train of cars behind him. Yeli Ooms, Carl Power is in there as well, along with Garen Batten, Adam Rosales, James Wingfoot, although I think he's a lap down, as is Gregory Leader. So there's a few cars squabbling over 8th place as they're just coming around the banking at the moment. And Steve Focacci and Anil Singh are pretty close together for 5th place. I'll tell you what, I'm just following this battle with Focacci at the moment because he's trying to work his way into the top 5 and is closing in on Anil Singh as they head into the final chicane.
He's got a good run out of the chicane there as well. Could he make a lunge into the first corner? No, he thinks better of it.
There's too short a run between the two corners, really, isn't there?
Yeah, so you're very brave if you head into there side by side because there's walls everywhere.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you what, just look in the background, who's coming up behind them? Championship leader, Sam Harper. So if these two start squabbling, then Harper could gain even more ground in the championship.
Yeah, and Singh went defensive, so these two are slowing each other up. Harper is reeling them in.
Coming back out onto the banking, Focacci surely is going to have a nice opportunity. And this has got to be a higher position. We've seen Focacci fighting for a position for all the season, really. He might be the reigning MX-5 champion, but it seems like he's struggled to adapt to this Formula Renault 2.0 car. But, well, it looks like he's getting back on pace now, even though he was on pole position at Silverstone, which was quite a surprise for a lot of us, really. But he's squabbling away over 5th place now. Well, he just doesn't seem to be able to get the run he needs on Anil.
That's it. These cars are a lot more fidgety and pointy compared to the MX-5s, so I think there's a lot more errors that creep in. Oh, Focacci makes a lunge into the first corner, and he's got it.
Singh got an awful run out of that chicane, and that might just open up the door, for Harper, and he goes through. Singh waves him by. So that's 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th being fought over there, and Sam Harper gains another point in the championship. Oh, Danny Henney has made contact, I think, with Michael Distelhoff as he was trying to lap him, and now Philpott is all over him, and he's going low onto the banking. Henney's led him through. So another change for the lead as Philpott reclaims that top spot.
Is Henney crabbing down the straight there? Has he got suspension damage? Because he doesn't look like he's got it all in the right direction.
He seemed to slow down okay for the chicane. See, it's hard to tell, is that because they're going over the apron. iRacing isn't really used to cars doing that. Oh no, he's
wiggling all over the place.
Yeah, he's got damage for sure. And look, here comes he's pulling into the pits. Danny Henney is out. So Philpott now has got, well, surely he'll just ease to victory with this one. So, my goodness me, so the top 3 that we thought were going to be battling over the win, 2 of them are out, and that has promoted Edward Shelley to 2nd place, 2.9 seconds behind Philpott now, and Tim Ellis is 3rd.
Oh, well, let's hope he gets a quick fix there and gets that back onto the circuit, but let's hope he behaves himself when he does so.
Yeah, absolutely. Just looking to see who will be on reverse grid pole if it finished now. That would be Richard Molden in the number 69 car, who is currently trying to defend from Henk Ensing, actually. He's got him 1.2 seconds behind him, but he's also not too far behind Danny Silva as well. So we could be seeing some swapping around there. Actually, as they go over the line, David Hatton has put himself into 20th position. Just stay there, David. You'll have a great race too.
Absolutely. And actually, you were talking about Danny Henney being out of the race, but because the field was a little bit spread and he used his Joker quick fix, he's actually only dropped down to 6th place. So that's not too bad for Danny.
That's pretty good. He can even fight from here as well because he's pretty close to Sam Harper. Although I can't seem to find him on the
So he's a couple hundred metres behind. You got Harper just ahead, fighting with Ficacci. That's probably the closest battle on track for 4th and 5th position. Ficacci is dragging Harper along in his slipstream down the banking, now into the first corner, over that savage bump on the exit there. I'm surprised that more people don't make a mistake at that point.
I'll tell you what, because Henny has actually dropped further behind. He's just crossed the line in 11th place, so that's why we couldn't place him just then. And actually, as our timing updates, Kyle Power is in 7th place, and he started 24th. So, storming drive from him.
Yeah, Kyle's a very good driver, but keeping out of trouble. He's very quick, but also he's quite consistent. He doesn't tend to get involved in silly incidents. And yeah, he's making really good progress through the field.
So we can see Steve Ficacci, who is in 4th place, and this is the closest battle out on track at the moment, I would say, for 4th place. And one we definitely want to be watching because it involves our championship leader, Sam Harper. So Hatton still in 20th place, I make it. So if he can just hang around there, he will be in a great position for race 2, as will Alexander Dobertsberger, actually, who is currently in 19th. So hopefully having them on the front row, that's lick your lips good, that is.
There is, and just ahead of Derbertsberger, actually, there's a cracking battle between Colton Myers, Matt Ragsdale, or Trumpets, as you know him, and Danny Silva. In fact, Trumpets just gets wide out the chicane, and that lets Silva get really close to him. These guys are scrapping over these bottom points positions, but actually, they might want to fight too hard. They might want to sit back a little bit and get a better position on the grid for race 2.
Yeah, if they start squabbling and they make a bit of contact now, then it's all over. You really need to set up your next 2 races, because if you have a bad result here, you could ruin the rest of your night, because especially if you don't manage to get back into the top 20, for example, then you'll be starting right back down the field again in race 3.
Yeah, there are such fine margins going on these points positions that we've got here, because there's only 1 point between each place. It makes such a big difference if you absolutely trash it.
So David Hatton in that 20th place. He's got a fair bit of track to himself, really. He's 2.4 seconds behind Dobertsberger in 19th and has got about the same margin to Henk Ensing in 21st. So I think that's reverse grid pole pretty much settled for Hatton, which will be great recovery for him, because it's not like in Formula 2, for example, where the reverse grid races are worth fewer points. He will still get maximum points if he wins race 2. So, Spanners, we can see they're in 13th place. Oh,
sorry to interrupt you, Chris.
Yeah, Ficacci in that battle for 4th place has gone into the wall, and that has promoted Sam Harper another position. And Ficacci's got big damage on the right-hand side of that car. I think he's going to have to bring it back into the pits.
Yeah, we see him coming. And he's hit the wall again, because as he broke the car,
he can't get it slowed down, can he?
And no, that's got to be it. Surely for him, his race looks to be over.
Yeah, he's going to have to crawl it back round to the pits. We can see Barry Kemp in the golf colour car also going slowly around the banking. So looks like he's had a bit of drama in there as well. But Sam Harper, after a pretty worrying qualifying in 13th, is about to cross the line in 4th.
Well, this is what championships are made of. Chris is he's being very consistent and just making up those places by not making any mistakes.
Yep, that's Steve Taylor just in front of him. He's about to put a lap on him, doing it carefully though. And well, as you would expect, you've just been saying, this is how he collects his points, by not doing anything stupid.
Oh, he nearly got collected by Taylor though. Yeah. Taylor went a bit wild, just as we were saying
and
that.
So nearly put the commentator's curse on him.
That was so good. But yeah, Sam's a very good driver. So I drove with him in a 24-hour race last year, and he was so consistent. He was impossible to beat. He was very, very quick, and just lap after lap he can put them in.
So Brad on lap 11 of 12, so he's about to start the final lap, just coming around the second oval section at turns 13 and 14 into the final chicane to start the final lap. Has he got front wing damage? It looks like he's got front wing damage.
Yeah, that front right, he must have clipped a wall somewhere, but he was a bit luckier than some of the other guys because he still managed to keep it on the black stuff.
So I wonder if that's why he lost the lead to Danny Henney early on, if he did end up in the wall somewhere, but was just able to carry on. Certainly hasn't hindered his pace. 5 seconds ahead of Edward Shelley. And it's skitting around a little bit, isn't it? But he's been able to keep it going and, crucially, keep it fast. And this looks like it's going to be the end of the different winners streak. Brad Philpott will be our first repeat winner in the Missed Apex Motorsport Formula Renault Challenge. And frankly, if we were going to bet on anyone to do it, you wouldn't have had a safer one than Brad.
That's right, although I didn't put my money on him today, but I think you did, so that's good. I'm surprised about the order, though. A couple of big errors there, big crashes took some of the big guys out. Danny Henney now in 8th place, and he is chasing down Conor Meyer, I think.
So Brad Philpott out of the final chicane to take the checkered flag and to take the first win of the night here at the Charlotte Roval. The first of 3 races, and it goes to Brad Philpott, who is the first man to take 2 wins in this new season. And that certainly is going to do his championship a load of good. Edward Shelley takes 2nd place. Remarkable drive from him, just ahead of Tim Ellis as well. And Sam Harper, the championship leader, comes home in 4th place to take a big chunk out of David Hatton's closing advantage in the points, and David Hatton is just coming out of the
down in 19th.
chicane.
Yeah, he's down. Yeah.
So he will start 2nd on the grid for the first of the 2 reverse grid races,